But nonetheless, on to the next one. We have round 12 here, circuit Paul Ricard. We have oh yes, the F1 in schools regulation, as well as the sporting changes. Perfect. We're gonna do these things one at a time. Research for chassis completed. I mean, can I just jump in and do another one? I'm about to. We need to get this one as high up as we can. Everything else be danged. Because if we can overcome that, we will be flying not only this year, but next year as well. We have the scouts, might as well use it. Regulation votes. We have noticed that powertrain car parts are significant in cost for small teams. This is all the sweet propose. Reducing the limits of all engine, ERS, and gearbox car parts for the next season. Oh, reducing them back? Heck no. Heck no. That's ridiculous. We worked hard to get that one in. It's been a godsend. It's been so nice. I vote against this, and it's going to pass because of course it will. F1 in schools. Yes, I would love to attend the Aramco F1 in schools World Finals to spread awareness about careers in science and engineering. That's also just me. That takes care of email. Mick has a dev point. We are going to be putting that into his cornering. Should have been reactions. I saw it as I was clicking the button. Theo also has one. We're going to put that into his accuracy. Other than that, I don't think there's anything coming. We have a design complete in Saturday. A new suspension design is completed. We'll go ahead and get that going. Our memorabilia room is needing a refurbishing. We'll go ahead and take care of that as well. To manufacture a few of these. 14 days, even rushed. Even rushed, we're not going to get them all done for Belgium, so we're just going to do these normal, and we'll bring them in later. Our car part test center has been upgraded. We're going to be flying. Of course it passes. Red Bull, Alpha Tauri, and Aston. Oof. Our limit for components next year is going down. That's horrific. I do not like, I do not appreciate. Management of that has been really nice for the last like 2 seasons. I think I got that maybe my first season. And it's been wonderful not having to worry about it. All right, 2 cars into Q3, 2 cars in the top 6. Finish position, we'll do 2 in the top 6. And these are both going, so those are done and dusted. Anything else to do? We do have $21 million. What do we have any? Do we have any facilities that could use upgrading? I do want to get my design center up. I think that's like 30. Yeah, that's 32 million. So I think we're just gonna save our money. But for now, let's go to the French Grand Prix weekend. I'm gonna try and get sneaky and send them both before the first group really comes through, and hope that kind of like that a lot of them decide to go in between there and there. Mick is going to get a clean lap, and Pierre is also going to get a clean lap. That's beautiful. Things you love to see. We will be done and dusted here in Q1. We'll go ahead and we're going to pay attention to Pierre, make sure he comes into the pits this time. Also, I'm realizing now that I literally started another suspension design right after I just manufactured a bunch of new ones. So I'm literally gonna make new ones, put them on, come out with, and then immediately come in with another design and another set of new ones. I think I actually am laundering money at this point. All right, as they start now, send Mick, send Pierre. I'm not even gonna watch. I mean, at this point, we have the pace to do kind of whatever we want. As Pierre does get across the line. Perfect. Amber, I mean, we're already through. Mick goes. Russell briefly beat us, but not to be outdone. Pierre immediately puts in 1.5 tenths on top of George's head. really going to give Pierre the maximum amount of space to put it on pole and not really be pressured at all. As Mick will come and start his lap, he'll hop on board with Pierre. Actually, we can watch Mick first and then hop on board with Pierre, as you know, he's an entire sector behind at this point. Let's go. Mick improving on his first sector down the back straight to the left-right chicane here in the confusing layout that is Paul Ricard. He goes green, second sector. Mick is going to need a decent amount of improvement if he's going to want to put it on the front rope. Here goes purple, first sector. That's a beautiful indication of the kind of pace we have around here when we're not running wide. Purple middle sector, Pierre. Mick rounding the last few corners onto the start finish straight. DRS opening up to the line. P4 for Mick. That's actually very surprising, as Pierre will come through and likely put it on pole, which he does easily. Wait a second, where's Verstappen? Is Verstappen having an absolute nightmare? Verstappen having an absolute nightmare. Wait a minute, how did I miss that? How did I miss that? That's crazy to me. Wow, I was not expecting that. I was genuinely shocked, but I did not see Verstappen up there. But we have one on pole, one on fifth position. Let's go to France. One stop for both. Should be a good one. We've been kind of rolling lately.
Overcast day for the drivers who've now taken position.
It's gonna be a chilly day. Here we go.
Here we go with the French Grand Prix.
The French Grand Prix.
It's lights out
And away we go. Tire check, tire check. All mediums, both McLarens on hards. Bottas also on hards. Everyone in the top 5 on the mediums. Pierre is likely just going to run away. Mick, we're hoping maybe make some moves. See if he's bold enough to make a move here on Leclerc coming out of the chicane. Just pull out, maybe gonna make a move up the inside. Got the pace down the inside of the Red Bull. Love to see it up into P4. Let's see if we can get the Ferrari napping. Sainz having a pretty good start. Mick getting his nose up in there. It's gonna turn into the inside on the last corner. Gets a good exit. Mick into P2. Now having to defend from Sainz though. Oh, they're going side by side the whole way through. Who's gonna do it? There we go, Mick. Attaboy. Stick to. There we go. Mick up into the podium places in this one. As long as we're within DRS of the Mercedes, we will be entirely vibing in this one. Great start here in Le Castellet. Couldn't really have asked for a better start to this one. Pierre's been able to open up a little bit. DRS is enabled now.
DRS will be active.
We'll hopefully see Mick be able to make a pretty powerful move by the Mercedes here, or minimum at least, you know, put him right up the gearbox. As Sainz misses out on DRS, it is now going to be hounded by Leclerc, I'm sure, as Mick sends one up the inside into Russell. Not close enough to make it stick, but I like the effort. I like the effort, Mick. Settle in behind, relax. Long way to go in this one. Yeah, it's medium tires all the way to P7. Not surprised by that. Sainz still not getting DRS. Tough break for the Scuderia, as Mick will be right on the gearbox of George Russell all the way through sector 1. Hopefully he'll be a little bit closer this time to make the move he failed to make last time here, as it gets a decent exit. DRS opening. Gonna go down the outside this time, which will turn into the inside of the chicane, and hopefully we'll be able to finish off the move. He does. That's a Haas 1-2 once again as we continue. Actually, Russell thought about it. Oh, he does come back to it. Oh, wowee. George putting up a fight. George heard all the smack we were talking at the Austrian Grand Prix, and he's not giving up without a fight here. Verstappen having an absolute dog of a race so far, all the way down there in P11. Joining Valtteri Bottas, apparently, who also did not have a good start. Was Bottas on the hards? Yeah. Yeah, Bottas on the hards, doing the split strategy to George here, currently in P2, but may change here in a moment. I'm wondering if Mercedes brought some straight line speed upgrades, because man, they are flying in a straight line, that's for sure. Sainz threatening to get back into DRS range. We would really prefer it if he did not. He's really teetering there. I don't know what we need to do to make sure he doesn't, but it would be lovely, you know, to make sure that he's not continuing to drag us forward. Leclerc gets DRS and attack Sainz moving up into P4. Hopefully that will occupy him and Sainz a little bit, as Mick is still just battling away here of George. Looks like it's going to be very similar to the first DRS lap. We're going to go side by side, and Russell having the inside line into this fast right-hander will likely pull forward, and Mick will likely concede the position right there. Pull back in, and away we go for another round. It's a fascinating battle to watch so far. You're not surprised. Here, guys, the fastest lap, fastest man on the circuit right now. It's also a great example of why we always overfuel the cars by a lap, because we can leave them on push fuel for the first 8+ laps, and we'll get the benefit of not having to concede at all.
Mercedes moved up a place.
Yeah, these two have been going back and forth for a little bit, Crofty. I don't think we should be too surprised by this at all. Making a try and go around the outside of turn one. A little unconventional, but he does get the move to work.
Haas with an overtake.
Oh, second one, who done it? Joe?
Look at that.
Sonoda! Yuki! Dude, look at Sainz up here battling for P4, and you have Ocon down there in P14. I'm sure Ferrari are really appreciating the efforts by the Frenchman in the Scuderia. Mick still just hanging out behind the Mercedes. At this point, I'm really considering just like decreasing the fuel push, sitting behind the Merc, and kind of just getting dragged along with DRS usually, because I mean Paul Ricard usually just operates like that. So if we just end up sitting behind, I think that's pretty a-okay. I'm also gonna lower Pierre's fuel as well. We'll see what the pace looks like from here, but he does have about a 4-second buffer behind, so should be okay. And also, I mean, he's obviously running in 4 seconds worth of clean air, but he should have pretty good pace, not having to battle anyone. Is Mick still gonna make that move into turn one at the inside for this chicane as he forces himself wide? Oh, Mick, you don't want to be going side by side when it gets DRS. All right. Oh, terrible exit from Mick. George is going to be flying by, although Mick's straight line speed's pretty good. You can thank the Red Bull powertrains for that, as we near a quarter of the, or 20% of the way through this race. I think we'll just let this go for a little bit. Let's see if we'll drop back and see what the rest of the field looks like, as we see Sainz battling Ricciardo for P4 here. There's a bit of a train gathering behind the Alpine. Nothing too shocking. I think Verstappen's still down there. P11 is probably the biggest.
That's a new race position for Haas.
It's probably the biggest surprise that we've seen so far. Ocon, about what you would expect. Van Dorn and Stroll bringing up the rear, I think is probably the least shocking thing we've seen so far. Besides, you know, also Pierre leading. Russell and Mick are just literally just going back and forth. So that's pretty a-okay. What lap are we looking to pit? We're looking to pit lap 22. So we're halfway through our first stint. We've used 30-ish% of our tires so far. Things are going pretty well. I think I'm going to use this lap to harvest ERS from Mick, so he has the max. And he should get, I mean, he'll be pulled along by DRS because that's how powerful DRS here is. As they're almost going side by side, 2 by 2 down the back DRS straight. But nonetheless, we continue on. Into sector 3 we go. Sainz unable to make the move on Daniel. Fascinating stuff, really. Who's the real winners here? I think Perez on the hards, which really aren't holding on that much longer than the mediums are, which is interesting. As Sainz does get around Ricardo finally. I think whoever's running on the hards getting dragged along like this is probably the best case scenario. For them at least, because they are on the, you know, the quote-unquote slower tire, even though I'm not quite so sure it's really as slow as the people want them to think. Especially now when you're running in, you know, this much traffic for sure. Schumacher says the fastest lap of the race. Fascinating stuff. A 1:35.6. Up into P2, although it looks like they're going side by side currently. Like Mick does get DRS down the back straight though.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes.
So he does not make the move though, so there's that. That's fine. These guys have been going side by side for a little bit. As we march on. I was like, we're gonna speed this up a little bit. I would love an opportunity to harvest a little bit with Pierre and rebuild that up a little bit, but we've slowly been grinding up this gap behind, and I really want to continue to do so. I think we'll end up boxing Mick first for this, and we'll probably box him on the ideal lap.
Mercedes moved up a place.
Let's see if we can cover off from Russell. Unless we're... No, I don't think the DRS into the main straight is going to be really that powerful, but kind of just a lot of running right now, not a whole lot going on per se. We have entered our pit window, but like I said, we're kind of just continuing on at the moment. Nothing too crazy going on. Mick enters, got the notification for his pit window. We are going to be boxing Mick this lap. We box Mick this lap for hards. We're going to try and cover off, what's his name? Actually, we're going to hop on board with Mick here to make sure that we get by, what's his name? George. And get into the box ahead.
Box. Capital box.
Yeah, we want to fly away here. We'll be boxing Pierre at the end of the next lap. I'm also just going to go ahead and set him up while we're here. He'll be boxing at the end of the next lap. It should be deploying, aggressive tiring, aggressive pushing, all of this stuff. We are gonna try and right here probably bump him back down on everything. Away we go. Russell does not pit. We are attempting to undercut the Mercedes here. We'll just stay here because why not? This mate comes in, out, 2.9 second stop. Still need to work on that. We're working on it in the long run, but Mick will come out in some clean air. Beautiful. He will have Joe to contend with. He was on old hards and we're on the new hards. Pierre here we will hop on board with while we continue pushing through the long right-hander. We'll go ahead and bump him back down. He will be boxing this lap with 5-second gap behind to Russell and a 12-second gap behind to Sainz, but Russell also in the box. Looks like Sainz also, yeah, everyone in the top 6 is coming in. In, out, 2.7 second stop is actually really good for us. Hopefully we come out, and we'll come out in clean air. Yuki is right behind us on old mediums. So it looks like Yuki's likely not going to get DRS off of us here. So even though we box Mick first, Pierre still comes out four positions further up the road. Just from traffic by the looks of it. But we still have, I mean, Pierre is obviously still a net P1. We did not successfully cover off George Russell, but Mick is right there. So this is going to be a battle pretty much the rest of the way. Gonna try and make the move into turn 1 again. Oh, he gets it done. What a king. I mean, Pierre is just in the ultimate clean air.
Haas with an overtake.
And we'll just continue on as there's not really a whole lot for us to do, really. I'm interested to see this lap time versus the leaders.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes.
Yuki in the pits. We ran 1.7, right? Yeah, 1.7 seconds a lap faster than
Haas with an
the
overtake
front group.
there.
And then K-Mag at least 1.4 seconds a lap faster than Perez in the front group.
Mercedes
Yeah,
moved
we're
up a
flying in comparison to the front groups. Who made a mistake? Oh, Daniel, no,
place. Oh, we've had a spin.
not like this, Daniel. Here finally gets by poor old K-Mag, and hopefully we'll start to put in a little bit of work. Although, actually no, they're probably going to stay out here for a little bit, so we are going to be making a lot of headway rather, into the first group. I mean, we're going to be catching them in a lap or two. Go ahead and push fuel. We'll cut that gap even faster, because the sooner that we catch up to them, the sooner, I mean, the larger the gap is going to be. Mick and George still doing their thing. Pierre in a lap is cut it down 2 seconds.
Is that a new race position for Haas?
I mean, realistically, where I'm going to be on them at the end of the next lap.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes.
Like almost getting DRS kind of thing. Like, I'll put Pierre on to save tires, but he'll likely still pass them. Oh,
Haas
Russ.
has moved up the field.
I'll say George getting held up slightly thanks to K-Mag, but not enough. Someone made a mistake. I missed it. You, Archon?
Oh, did
Maloney. Oh, Maloney. I feel like it's been such a long time since I've seen your name. That's unfortunate, really. All right, Nick, relax. Take a load off. Pierre back into the lead. Mick back onto the podium, catching Norris very quickly. He's in the pit. And away we go. Back to standard for Pierre. With Mick, I'm going to leave him on light. I'm going to see if we can regain a little bit of this. Yeah, we're well under the tires of George Russell. I'm going to see if we can kind of gain some of that back by just hanging back as much as we can. But we're kind of just chugging along. Only 16 laps remaining. Someone making a mistake briefly, running wide. Maybe a McLaren. No, Maloney again. Where are you, Maloney? Down there, P19. That's a tough one. Even the Astons are doing better than you, Maloney and Joe. I think that's pretty much a death knell, a death sentence around here. But nonetheless, the gaps do be looking pretty good. As Mick has managed to regain. Verstappen spin. Oh, dude, Verstappen in the mud. Verstappen in the absolute mud. Mick has managed to regain a couple of percentage points on Russell here. I think for Mick, I think he'd be happy. I think we're happy with Mick on the podium here. And just kind of pressurizing George Russell a little bit, keeping him occupied instead of trying to push forth and catching Pierre. Let's see what conserved tires looks like. I mean, DRS is a very powerful tool in these cars. It looks like conserved might be a little too much. But I mean that back straight is crazy.
That sounds like someone's gone wide there.
All right, we're going back up to. I mean, we gained another percentage back. There's that. People keep making mistakes in the end of sector 2, sector 3. Ricardo running wide again on turn 11. Come on, Danny boy, we got this. And mix smoothness is just not where it needs to be, realistically. As we are 6 laps remaining in this Grand Prix, I think once we get closer to lap 50 is when we'll hop back on board with Mick and, you know, seeing what we can make happen. See if we can get another Haas 1-2 on the books tonight, which I am all for. Van Dorn locking up into turn 7, absolute nightmare scenario for them. Doing all he needs to do, which is just hang on to the back of George Russell with plenty of ERS and plenty of fuel. We'll hop on board with Mick at the end of this lap and try to make something happen here. We'll go on board with the Schumacher. Last 3 laps of this race. At this point, tire check. Russell has about a 1.5% better tires than us. I think I'm honestly pretty okay. It's gonna be tight, but I'm pretty okay, I think, holding on, staying close enough, and then on the last lap, just absolutely full sending, full yeet, go for it mode. Because I think that's what it's gonna take, because I mean that back straight is so long when you don't have DRS that I think I'm a-okay trying to wait until then. But what I will do is move it up to standard tires, really close up that gap. Pressurize George, maybe into making a mistake on his own, you never know. But I think about here we'll bump up the fuel, start burning that off. And here we go. This is for all the marbles. As Pierre will march forth to another win this season. We're doing everything we can to put Mick Schumacher into position to end up on the second step of the podium. Once again, we'll bump up the tires to aggressive.
This will be last lap.
We will be on. We're going to be pushing,
Loads of energy.
but we don't want to pass until the back straight. We'll bump up the deploy to overtake. Get a good launch and immediately into deploy. And we are flying into the chicane. This is the money moment, where as long as I'm hoping as long as we're deploying, we'll have the energy usage to stay ahead and keep Russell George from giving that dive bomb down the inside. Only a few more turns away. We timed it to perfection. Coming up to the final corner as Gasly crosses the line. Mick Schumacher, welcome to the second step of the podium. Back-to-back Haas 1-2s. Beautiful stuff. Verstappen in the mud. Leclerc only 2 points on the day. Even Mercedes only 5 points on the day.
Flag, but you can keep pushing.
Beautiful stuff. That's a fastest lap for Mick as well. A Haas 1-2, and we are flying away with this championship. I mean, we're gonna have to start doing some math on when we have like mathematically won both the drivers and the constructors, because we might have to I want to do that so we can go full on into research for next season's car and just stop developing, because once we have it mathematically locked up, then that's when I need to know, and then we can start preparing for next year. We can get our reserve driver a bunch of seat time in FP1s and like all this stuff,
For this weekend,
and we'll just
Pierre
be
Gasly flew us to the stars.
and we'll be preparing for the future. I didn't mean to skip that. Sorry, Pierre, Mick, that's on me. But once again, Pierre increases his gap to P2, which is Mick. Increases his gap to Verstappen to a whopping 57. So, and in the constructors, we increase it by 14 to a whopping 71. We are exactly doubling up Red Bull over halfway into the season. We have won 10 out of the 12 possible races. We are, it's all been culminating in this. All the work that we're putting in previous seasons, it's all coming down to this as Pierre gets another dev point. We are building something here. 5 million in the pocket. Oh, absolutely flying. We're finishing all of our sponsor goals. We're winning races. We're paying out for our driver bonuses. We are actually flying. Actually flying. This is the domination I envisioned when I started the series. This is the domination I've been expecting, and I'm here for it. I really am.